Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Sincerely Shakti. I am playing with the lighting for a second. There we go. So today's episode is on something that is very, very important to me and very important to the work that I do. And I firmly believe is important to everyone, although not everyone seems to think the same. So for those of you who don't know, I work with an organization called Team Beachbody. I am a health and fitness coach. And if you're interested in that or know a little bit about it and want more information, you can contact me at Shakti, SHAKTI .rios, RIOS, @gmail.com. So I work as a coach with this organization, and primarily my job is to help whoever needs it, whether it's a coach on my team or a client who is looking to achieve certain fitness goals, to help motivate them to keep in a positive mind frame and to keep on track. That's my job. Part of being a coach in this business in particular is participating in what we call vital behaviors. So there are 4 really important behaviors in our job that we consider to be non-negotiable behaviors. The one that this video is based on, and that is by far the most important to me, is personal development. Okay, so self-help, personal development, books that help you reflect, whatever, that subject matter. Okay. Let me backtrack a little bit and say that the way that the world is going as of now, what our parents consider to be, and I'm a millennial, so I'm going to speak for the generation before mine and even before them. Our parents considered that the path to success was to go through a formal institution to receive a formal education. That means bachelor's degree, master's degree, doctorate degree, and then achieve a job as a professor or a professional somewhere that would ensure security and would ensure stability for a long term. That is a format that has been sort of programmed into the mind of many millennials because it worked for some time for the generations prior to us in creating that stability and security. Well, what has been happening and is continuing to happen at a rapidly increasing rate is that that formula is no longer producing the type of security that we were told it would. I am a college graduate. I have 2 bachelor's degrees from the University of Florida. I'm so glad I went to college. Let me just start there. I had an amazing time. I learned amazing things. I have lifelong friends that came out of that experience, and I would recommend it to everyone because of the experience in itself. Because learning is powerful, and the more you can learn, the better. That being said, when I graduated, I did not end up in a position that had anything to do with my degrees. And in fact, post my education, I went to a vocational school, I became a massage therapist, and that has been my career for the past 4 years. One of the most fulfilling things I've ever done with my life. I love my job. I think it's really powerful. But it didn't come from a formal institution. It came from a vocational school. Similar to that, I then became a coach, right? And so I'm working online. It's an online job, connecting with people, bringing them together, supporting them, and motivating them. In essence, I am a small business owner, okay? And my job is remote. So what I am seeing is a trend in that direction. I am seeing a trend that people who pursue either vocations or, and by vocation I mean like vocational school, technical degrees, or small business ownership is on the rise. Those are on the rise, and success is following those people who are moving in those directions. Education is looking very different right now. Valuable education is looking very differently right now for people who are looking for success. and great success, okay? You do not have to go to a 4-year institution or a 10-year institution to be able to be successful in life. That formula should be cut up for you right now. It's one thing if you want to do that, but it's a false belief that you have to do that to achieve success. And that is being proven by, once again, this trend of people that are pursuing technical degrees and also small business ownership and getting wildly successful in a relatively short amount of time without having gone that path. So how do you get an education for that? For either a vocational degree or for starting a small business, right? Because education is so important. Personal development, right? So back to the point of this entire video. Personal development, books on leadership, books on sales, books on customer relations, books on breaking personal habits and building new ones, books on being effective and efficient with your time, books on time management. Those books exist for a reason, okay? These books are the curriculum to graduating successfully in small business ownership or vocation, okay? Instead of you going to a 4-year institution, getting a list of textbooks to read to pass a class, et cetera, this is the alternative to that, okay? Personal development is a wealth of knowledge and experience. These books have been put together by people who have lived tremendously and have experienced a ton and have been in whatever field they're talking about for an extended period of time to help you who are coming into this awakening and this desire for more information that's non-traditional, to help you find all the core values and the core information you need to be successful. These books are incredibly essential to building up your mind wealth, okay? PD changes your perspective on life. I'm convinced on this, okay? When you are daily, consistently filling your mind with information that is motivating, inspiring, that instills creativity in your mind, that challenges you to ask really important questions, that pushes you out of your comfort zone to grow, when that is what you're constantly putting in your mind, that begins to be the way that you interact with your world. So instead of going through really difficult situations and falling into this woe is me situation, you begin to look at difficult moments in your life with curiosity. How can I address this moment? What is this moment trying to teach me? Where can I go from here? What lesson do I take away from this? So the questions and the internal monologue that you start having changes rapidly as a result of what you're putting into your mind, okay? So personal development, outside of it being sort of the ticket to getting successful in this non-traditional education pathway, it's also essential for your mental health and your mental wealth, okay? So what do I mean by that? Here's an analogy, the simplest analogy I can give when it comes to personal development and what it actually does to your mind. Most of us have a checking account and a savings account. Pretty common these days that you belong to a bank and you have a checking and it comes with a saving, right? The checking account you use for daily interactions. The savings account is a place where you put money for in the event that there is an emergency or that you run out of money, you have some money, right? You pull it from the savings account and you use it because it's there. It's put away, it's stashed away for when you really need it. Personal development is the savings account of your mind. When you're having a really shitty day and you run out of all the good you could possibly think of and there's no inspiration for you at the moment, if you have been consistently reading or listening to personal development, feeding your mind this really positive information, you will have a resource from which to pull to help you in that moment. That is so, so important. I think we really underestimate how hard living can be sometimes, and how sometimes when we're stuck in the hamster wheel of crap, we just think that's the way that life is, and it's never going to get any better. It's never going to get any easier. And I don't remember where I heard this quote, but it's so true. What you don't know will kill you. And we believe that we're stuck in this hamster wheel and it's never going to change because we don't know better. We haven't educated ourselves. We haven't filled our mental savings account. We don't have anything from which to pull to tell us that it can change and we can change it. There's no resource for us to pull from if we are not putting into our minds what we need in order to change our belief. So this is what I mean. It's a vital behavior in our work as coaches, because if we as coaches are not consistently changing the way that we think and challenging ourselves to grow more and filling our own mental savings account, then we can't expect to support others in doing that, right? We can't give what we don't have. And that is such a true universal principle. So it's a vital behavior in our work because of that. We have to lead by example. And that goes for any job or any position that you have. Leading by example works. This whole do as I say, not as I do does not. And it never will. Because example is by far so much more powerful and has more influence than anything. So it's a vital behavior whether you are a small business owner and trying to grow your leadership skills, your management skills. You have to be reading personal development. It's vital if you have any kind of degree in order to stay on track and stay focused with your original intention for why you pursued that degree or why you pursued the job that you have, or wanting to be a better mother, a better parent, a better doctor, lawyer. Personal development feeds your mind and keeps your mind in a place of interest, curiosity, and inspiration. And that is so important for living a positive life. Furthermore, when your bank account is full, when your savings account, your mental savings account is full of all this wealth of knowledge, when you are tempted to engage in self-sabotaging behaviors, which we all do, because once again, life can be challenging. And oftentimes when we're striving towards a goal or moving in one direction, we will be hit with things that will make it harder. And so we will be tempted to fall back on old patterns of behavior and sabotage our progress. That's very, very normal and natural. The brain is lazy. The brain doesn't want to put energy into something new when it can just do what it's always done. So it's striving for something new and achieving something new. It takes a lot of work and takes a lot of brain power, right? So when you have this mental savings account that's full, you have the resources, you have the funds to pull from it in those moments when you want to self-sabotage, so that you can put your situation into perspective and avoid the downfall. I'm not saying you're not going to have valleys. We all have peaks and valleys. But your valley doesn't have to turn into a trench. It can just be a little dip instead of being a giant hole, right? So that's what personal development does. It helps you kind of bolster your fall so that you don't fall so deeply and that you can quickly find your way back where you should be moving on. So once again, just to finish up this video and wrap up really important points, the way that we achieve success in this world is changing quickly. And it's no longer enough to go to a 4-year institution and get a degree and say, okay, I'm good. You have to be educating yourself outside of those walls. And personal development is an even free ticket. You can go to a library and find a ton of free personal development books to help you get the training and the mindset that you need to be successful professionally. Personal development alters the way you look at the world. It changes your perspective. It keeps you full of positive messages instead of you finding yourself overwhelmed by the news or the negative messages that seem to come from every direction. Personal development is your mental savings account. Okay? Do not ignore this, because on the days when you are struggling, you are going to be so grateful that you spent 10 minutes a day. That's all it takes, listening to a podcast or reading a chapter of a book that inspires you on any subject matter, whether it's spiritual, business, whatever, so that you can pull from that bank account and help yourself when you're struggling. This is such an important resource, and this is part of self-care. Don't just let yourself struggle. Don't let yourself fall into a pit of despair. Use what you've got. Use your resources and fill that savings account, because this is medicine for your mind. And you need this. You need to be stocked up on this. If you have a headache and you don't have anything to help you with the headache, whether it's herbal or a pill, or you're going to be struggling with a headache and unnecessarily when you have other things that you could use. So do the same thing. Don't just let yourself struggle in your moments of difficulty. Make sure your savings account is full. Make sure that you've delved into some personal development and given yourself help so that when you really need it, you've got it. Okay? So your assignment is to go out there, find a podcast. Some of my favorites are MWF Motivation. I listen to it every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Brooke Castillo, the Life Coachable podcast, is awesome. What else? Mindful Sales, if you're in business and selling, is awesome. Those are just a few. And then read a good book. Go and find a book on leadership. Just Google that. Leadership or entrepreneurial studies or spiritual self-help, and just get plugged in with one thing, one podcast, one book, something that you can begin engaging in 10 minutes a day to begin changing the way that you look at your world and the way that you process challenge. So, so important. Okay, my friends, go out there, feed your minds good food, feed your bodies good foods, feed your spirits good food, and I will see you next time around. Many blessings.